We played about as well as you could possibly play that game. And Jordan was kind of in a malaise. You know, I think going into the fourth quarter, we were literally up 15. He had like 12 and 7, a couple of assists. He was kind of on cruise control. So, player on my team by the name of Derek Martin, I'll never forget this. He makes a shot with about 8 minutes to go in the corner by the Bulls bench. So, and it was a 3. He makes a 3. Right? Put us up like, I want to say 18. And he turns to the Bulls bench and like starts to like talk smack at Jordan. I said, oh my God. I mean, Jordan was a sleeping dog. He was minding his own business. They left Vancouver with the loss. No big deal. They won 71 games that year. So by the time Derek ran to the other end of the floor, Jordan jumped off the bench and went to the scorer's table and reported in. Phil Jackson did not call him. He jumped off the bench, went to the scorer's table, came into the game, scored the next 13 points. So after the game, we lost. I went to Derek and I slammed his locker. I said, man, what were you doing? He was like, I'm sorry. But that's who Jordan was. You know, you talk about a competitive level. There was no really defeating him. The only person that could defeat him was himself.
I'm on DraftKings a lot. That would have been what I call a good live wagering opportunity. When you guys jumped up by 18 against the Bulls. Lonnie, let me ask you, because your generation and even younger, some kids never saw Jordan play, and they'll side with LeBron when people want to argue who's the greatest of all time. I don't know how much of the Last Dance documentary you got to see, or highlights or things, but where do you come in on that debate as far as the greatest of all time?
I mean, for me, it kind of depends on what aspect you're talking about. When Jordan came into the league, I would say the expectations wasn't as cruel as it was for someone like LeBron. You know, even if LeBron would still be a future Hall of Famer, it still might have still not be enough. The level of pressure that he had without having social media, people all over him, and the fact that he over-exceeded the expectations of already being one of the greatest players of all time. I would say LeBron, but that's just because I grew up with him. I'm a LeBron fan. But watching The Last Dance and seeing the mentality that Jordan has, I don't think anyone has ever duplicated something like that.
Stu, if you had a vote, LeBron or Jordan?
A tough vote. But I'll counter Lonnie and I'll say Jordan. And the reason is this, that if you look at statistically in the data, LeBron, you could argue, didn't score quite as much, but was a more highly efficient player. I mean, everybody knows he's a much better passer. He's a better rebounder. What separates Michael Jordan is this, to me, is his play in the playoffs and his uncanny ability to capture the moment and produce great things when everyone has the expectation that he would do so, and he would do it. That's what separated him, and that is just, to me, mentally, maybe the greatest competitor of any sport that I think that, we've ever seen.
When a lot of people think of Jordan, they think of the dunks. Lonnie, year after year we watch the slam dunk contest, and we either fall asleep or we hear Shaq and Charles Barkley ripping guys because it takes them 6 turns to get the actual dunk down. Now, Stu probably has some connections in the league. If you were asked to participate in the slam dunk competition, would you get in?
There's a possibility, but to be continued, man. Stay tuned.
Everyone in this room has seen you jump. And sometimes I'm wondering, when's he going to hit his head on the sometimes I'm like cringing that your head's going to hit the rim, but we need to do something with that dunk contest.
Yeah.
I think Lonnie's the answer. I want to switch gears now, talk about your time in Reading. You've often used the phrase, Lonnie, just a kid from Reading. What does this city mean to you?
The city's my heart, you know. I've been through it all, learned a ton of lessons through it all, you know, and you know, this is what made me me. You know, I take big pride on that. You know, everything that I've learned, all the adversity that I've gone through, you know, if it wasn't for Reading, I wouldn't be this shaped like this. I wouldn't be shaped with how I am, my characteristics, my personalities, my viewpoints in life. But it also took a village to build me up. You know, great credit to my mom, my grandparents, my pops. They all kept me sheltered because, like everyone else knows, living in Reading, it's no, you know, sweets and giggles. I won't say other words, but it's not flowers at all. So you gotta have a different mentality walking around here and how you approach life, because it can be taken at any moment. So, you know, I continue to put my head down. My father really kept me sheltered, and I just learned from everyone else. You know, I peeped how people live their lives. You know, what was the right thing to do, what was the wrong thing to do. You know, what was a bad decision, what's a great decision, and through it all, I just continued to learn. Just be as big of a sponge. You know, my father, he didn't play that. All right, so anything I did, I had to make sure he wasn't right behind me. You know, making about to not ground me for the next 10 years or whatever it may be. So I just had wonderful people